Alright, so in this next section of Adobe Photoshop Essentials, okay, for beginners, we are going to look at how to design a flyer together, okay. So I have these resource files that I got from PNG Egg, okay, so you can check them out. Here are the PNG Egg. So I just came to the internet, PNG Egg, and search for leaves. I got this, and then I also tried to download some sneakers and other shoes that we are going to use for these flyers, okay. So when you come here, you can type in whatever you are looking for, and definitely you are going to get something that is going to help you, okay. So right now, let's get started without wasting much time, okay. So first of all, I'm going to create a new document as always. So Ctrl+N to create a new document, and then I'm going to use A4, but with A4 I'll change here to 200, and then I'll also use 200 for here. And then resolution, I can maintain 300, but I don't want my work to be too large because I'm going to use it for social media. So let me use 100, okay. And then I'll click on create. If I was going to print this, then I'll maintain 300 and do the design, okay. And also remember, you design in RGB, not CMYK, okay. So after you've done with the design, you want to change it to CMYK and print it out. That is very easy. You can come to image up here and go to mode, and then you will see, click on the CMYK, and definitely it is going to help you change it to CMYK so you can print it out. All right, so to start with, I'm going to start by creating a shape. So I'll come here and I'll select my rectangle tool, or let me use the ellipse tool instead, okay. So I'll click and drag with my ellipse tool, and I can draw something like egg, okay. If you are okay with it, you can leave it. And I'm going to turn off stroke because I don't want to use any stroke. And also I'm going to select a color. So let me choose something like this. I'll change it back to white because I want to use white over there, but because I want to see what is going on, that's why I'm using this one. And also I can go to up here, select all, and with my shape selected, and also on my move tool, I can align this one to the center. When you're done, go back to select, and then we can deselect, and you see shortcut is Ctrl+D. So next I'll click and drag this all the way down, and then I'll select my background, and I'm going to draw a rectangle this time around, okay. Then I'll make sure I turn off the stroke for now, and then I'm going to click and drag to cover the whole canvas. And but this one is going to be under this one because we've drawn it just in between the shape and the background. Then from here, I'll go to effects, and I'm going to add a gradient overlay, okay. So I'm going to use a nice gradient that is popping in my head. So with my gradient, I'm going to use something just like this. So you see, I already have it at radar, and this is the opacity. Let me use 100 opacity, style, then angle can be 90, whatever, because since I have it at the middle, no problem. So let me open the gradient editor so I can edit this gradient. To edit my gradient, I'll first of all click on this stop, and then I'll have the option here and open the stop. Then I'll drag this one all the way down, and I'm going to pick a color just like this. I think this one is too much, so I want something just like this. And then I will click on the second stop, open the color editor, and pick a color, okay. So I'm going to pick something like this, just close to the color that we just selected. So come all the way here, and let's select something like this. I think this one is too much, so let me take it a bit down. All right, so something like this is cool for me. I'll click on OK, and then let me deepen up this one. So let me open the first top again and let's see if it can be deepened a bit. So this is it. All right, so this is really amazing. Okay, so guys, you can copy the color code here. So this is the first one and this is the second color code as well. So let me show you the color code for this one, and this is it. And also one thing that you can do is to click on this new here to save this one to your switches. So anytime that you can just click on it and it will just apply it for you. You see my old gradient, I just click on it and it just pop. So let me select this one, click on OK, click on OK. Then from here I can select back this one, but before you select it, make sure you have your move tool selected. Normally I use the shortcut V, or you can come here and select it yourself, then select it back, double click on the thumbnail over here to open the color picker so we can pick a color. So let me click and drag it all over the top here to select a plain white, and then this, my friend, is going to be for the background. I can look for something to add to it. So I think I have something here that I can add to the background to make it a bit interesting. So let me come here. And then I have these guys here. So let me click and drag this one here. Then I'm going to scale this one up. So click to scale to fit the canvas. So let me fill the canvas with this. Alright, so when you're done, you can click on this check mark to accept changes. Alright, so from here we will go back to our layer management. Okay, so remember layer management, you have to click and drag this one here. So we are going to have this one on top, and we can also change the blending mode. Okay, so when I select the first one, I can use my arrow keys on the keyboard to swap in between them. Okay, so let's see something that mixed with the background. I think screen is very okay and it is too much, so let me reduce the opacity all the way down. So I think opacity like 7 is okay. So let me see, this was before and this is after. Just a tiny changes or just a mute changes. Let me maintain something like 10. So opacity 10%. It's a very light changes, but this goes a long way to make your design stand out. Okay, then from here what I'm going to do is to bring in my images that I have for this. So I'll click and drag this one here into Photoshop, and I can also reduce the size. So let me bring this guy here, and I think it is too big, so let me reduce the size a bit more. Reduce it a bit. So this one is going to be here, and then let me also go and pick another one. So I think this one will be a perfect fit for the second one as well. So reduce the size, reduce the size. Alright, so let me bring this one closer, and you see, back to our layer management, you see how this one is intercepting with this one very nicely. I love it because we have this one just here and this one on top of it, and it looks very wow. This is really amazing. Okay, then from here we can add the main title, like maybe, so I'll make this one big, and then I'm going to use a font called this. So please, if you don't have this font, you can use the technique that we just learned. So you can go and get yourself a font. So I'm using this font called Benzene Extra Bold. Okay, so this is the font that I'm using. This is very cool, I love it, And then we can also add another text, and I can change the font of this one as well. So I have this font that I love using it, so let me try that font to see if it works for this one as well. And I can see the text is too close, so let me bring the tracking to 0, and let me increase the size of the font. All right, so this works. I really love it. Okay, so let's see. Let me change the font color of this so we can see the difference, and I'm also going to apply a text effect on it to see how it is. Okay, oh, I really love the combination. And we can also write another text here, to close up the space over here. Okay, so with this shape I can also corner the edges if you like to do so. So we can add a text like shop on a budget. Shop on a budget, and then I'll change the font to something different. And also guys, what I also like to tell you is that when designing something like this, you don't have to use too many fonts. Okay, at least 2-3 fonts, or even one font is okay. I don't know why I'm using too many fonts on this, but this font, when I use it here, is going to make something red. That's why I'm changing the font. But please don't use more than 3 fonts on your project. At least 3 fonts. 2 is better, 1 is great. Okay, you don't have to be adding a lot of fonts into your project. That is going to make it too messy, and you want a clean work. Okay, so I'll select this one and I'll change the font color. So let me pick a color that we have here as the gradient, and let's see the results. Wow, this is really amazing. I love it. Let me increase the size of the shape a bit. So select that. Let's increase the shape a bit, then align both to the center. So align to the center, and I can select it and bring this one back. Also, one thing that you can do is to add a link. Okay, so with my 2 shapes selected, I can link them. So when I select one and move, both of them is going to be moved because it is now linked together. Okay, so another thing that maybe I can add at the top here is another text, shop at. Let me change the font to white. So we can add something like shop at Solo's Closet. Okay, shop on a budget. And we can also increase the tracking for this one because we want to make sure this one and this one align. So let me increase the tracking more. This is way too much, so let me come back all the way to, let's say, 1000 and see the results. Okay, 1000 is great, but let's go a bit further. Let's go a bit further, like 1400. Select both of them, align to the center, and let's see the results. Align to center, align all to center. Oh, okay, I think this is great. So let me try to align it with my eyes. Okay, next I'm going to change the color of this text. Okay, so with this one selected, make sure you have it selected, and then if you don't have this character panel, let's go to window and activate that. So select that, and we can click on here to swap or change the color or pick a new color for it. Then what I'm going to do next is to make a duplicate. So I'll click and drag this one here to the plus sign down here to make a duplicate, and let me change the color for the duplicate. I'll make a sample color from here, and then let me go a bit down. Okay, so I'm just switching the color just a tiny bit, and then I'll move this one backwards a bit, and let's say upwards, and I'll click and drag this one down. Okay, so come back to our layer management a bit. So if you like, you can take it up or you can take it down, so whatever that you like you can do over here. So this is an effect that you can create. I'm loving it. So we can apply the same thing here. Click and drag this one here, or another way to make a duplicate is to hold Ctrl and you add J, or Command plus J to make a duplicate. Then we can sample the color from here. Then I'll move this one a bit down and a bit here. So instead of clicking and dragging the closest here to switch the colors, we can rather use a shortcut that is Ctrl plus the left bracket, okay, to move that layer down. We can also use the Ctrl plus right bracket to take it up, okay, that is Command with the left bracket to move it back. Okay, so this is what we can do here. All right, so I'm loving this one and it's very cool. So let's move to the next thing that I would also like to add. All right, then for me, I'm going to add leaves, okay, a flying leaves. So I'll click and drag this one into Photoshop, click on this mark to accept changes, and then I'm going to put these guys here. And then you see this one is too harsh, so I have to, either reduce the opacity. So first of all, right click and convert this one to a smart object. Let's go to filter, blur, and let's blur this one out a bit because it is too much. So with the blur, let's reduce the radius all the way down. Okay, so let's reduce the radius to something like 4. And also let me move this guy all the way down. Okay, so I'm going to move this smoke. All right, next, so let me move this down. Okay, this leaves all the way down, okay, behind the text. So I'll move this one all the way down behind the text. You can reduce the opacity if you like to. Okay, so I think something like this is okay, but if it is too much for you, you can add a layer mask. Okay, and with the layer mask we can paint with black. So make sure you have a foreground color like black, and then the ones that you don't want, you can select your brush tool here and then you can just paint them off. Okay, so maybe I don't want this. To any of them that you don't want, you can just erase them. Okay, so the next thing is to add my rest of information like contacts and others. So you can start with maybe dealers in, then I'll make a duplicate of the text. That means holding down the Alt key or Option key, click and drag to make a duplicate. Let me change the font back to the first one that we used, that is the Open Sans font, and I'll choose the regular and I will list the items that we sell. So we deals in Alright guys, so this is what we deals in. So you can add the product you sell to it, okay, and then you can also add your contact info. So let's say with the help of the text tool, we can draw a shape. I'll pick a color just like this one, and then we can add our contact info as well. So make a duplicate, then you can hold Ctrl plus the right bracket, move it several times, and then we can change our text. You change the color of the text, and then you can add your contact number. So this is it. This is how we do it. This is a promotional flyer, and we are not done yet. The last thing that I'm going to do is to make a duplicate of this one, reduce the size all the way down, and I'm going to add the closet to it. So Solos closets, all in caps, and bring this guy here, increase the size a bit, and then Ctrl plus T to bring on the free transform, and I'm going to rotate this guy a bit, like 15%, so I can type here -15 for a precise. So I can type in the figure here, okay, to get a precise figure, so like -15. You click on this to accept changes, and let's make a duplicate. Okay, so make a duplicate, another duplicate, so guys, you can make several duplicates as much as you want, and when you're done, you can select all of them together, Ctrl G to group, and I can move this all the way down as well, just behind the shape that we have here, the ellipse shape that we drawn here. Okay, so I'm going to put that one behind it, and with the group selected, I'm going to reduce the opacity so we kind of have a feel of the name at the background. Okay, so let's maintain a figure like 10 or even 12% is okay for this one. This is how you can design a flyer in Photoshop with all the techniques that we've learned. You can select this one, make it a little big, okay, not too much, and I can also select this one. So let me group my background from here all the way to here, group, and you can also give your design some colors. So let me label this one as blue. Okay, so I have blue here. As for my background, this one too is the leaves, so I can also put this one in its separate group, and all my text is also going to be in a separate group as well. So Ctrl plus G to group, and this one is also going to be for tests and infos. I can also label this one as green, so let me add the text to it, and also let me bring the rest. This is the shoe, this is the shoe, so shoes. I can also label the shoes as yellow or even orange. So let me label the shoes as orange, and this one is going to be for shapes. So this is how organized you can also stay when designing things like this. No color for the shape. So this is how you can design a flyer in Photoshop. Okay, so let me select these guys here, and I'm going to make it a bit large. I have everything selected, and I can increase the size a bit if you like to do so. Okay, so this is how you can design a simple flyer in Photoshop. Okay, so the next thing is also going to be like looking at different flyer. Okay, so we are also going to look at how to design a different flyer, then we can conclude on this course. Okay, so I will continue to add more of these kind of designs into the course, so anytime that you come back you can see a different work on this platform. All right.